Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving straight into a massive supply chain ripple hitting the booming global weight loss drug market. This is a super fascinating collision between off-the-charts global demand and the very real physical limits of pharmaceutical manufacturing. If you've been tracking the explosive growth of metabolic therapies, you know that understanding these supply bottlenecks is honestly just as critical as understanding the medical breakthroughs themselves. Look at this visual, a blue injection pen wrapped up tightly in a yellow measuring tape. It literally captures the absolute global gold rush we're witnessing right now from metabolic treatments. The promise here is huge, right? But what actually happens when the supply of these highly sought-after treatments suddenly hits a brick wall? Section 1. The Supply Snag. Okay, let's start at the micro level with a pretty unexpected hurdle for Indian pharmaceutical giant Dr. Reddy's. There was a ton of hype surrounding the launch of Obeta, their semaglutide injection in India. But then they hit a roadblock. In early July, routine checks revealed that certain batches were actually out of specification. And you know how it is in the highly regulated pharma world. An issue with the active pharmaceutical ingredient means you slam on the brakes immediately to investigate. By July 9th, they had to put out a public announcement confirming commercial supplies were delayed. Just like that, a major, highly anticipated rollout stalled. Moving on to Section 2, Reassurance and Market Reaction. Now, a sudden halt in supply sounds super alarming, right? But Dr. Reddy's immediately jumped into damage control. They stated, unequivocally, there is no impact on patient safety or on the product's existing global regulatory filings. Basically, they were drawing a hard line in the sand, telling regulators, hey, this is a manufacturing hiccup, absolutely not a public health crisis. But catch this, what's completely missing from this statement is a timeline. No specific date for when things get resolved, and really no details on the exact nature of the active ingredient issue. And while we all know markets absolutely loathe uncertainty, the financial sting was immediate. Right after the news broke, Dr. Reddy's shares traded 1.8% lower, down to 1,324 rupees. But here's the wild part. At the exact same time, the overall pharma index was actually up 1.8%. So the broader market was having a great day, leaving Dr. Reddy's taking a direct, isolated hit based purely on these supply chain jitters. Section 3. Unpacking semaglutide. So why does a single ingredient issue trigger such a massive market reaction? Well, as we know, semaglutide is the golden ticket active ingredient driving absolute blockbusters like Ozempic and Wegovy, and it happens to be the exact same foundation for Dr. Reddy's Obeta. The crucial takeaway here is all about leverage. Whoever controls a reliable, scalable supply of semaglutide essentially holds the keys to the kingdom. When that ingredient bottlenecks, the entire revenue stream just freezes. Finally, Section 4. India's weight loss gold rush. You see, Dr. Reddy's is not operating in a vacuum here. They are fighting in a high-stakes, hyper-competitive race. We're talking over half a dozen Indian drug makers aggressively jumping into the space, all launching lower-cost copies of those global brands to capture a massively lucrative demographic. When you're vying for a share of a fast-growing global market, any delay, like Dr. Reddy's active ingredient hurdle, means you are instantly bleeding precious ground to some very fast-moving competitors. But wait, here's where the story gets really complicated. Despite this cutthroat manufacturing race to secure ingredients and launch generics, recent data from the research firm PharmaRack reveals something completely unexpected. Consumer demand for these drugs actually plateaued in June. Yeah, you heard that right. Just as the supply side is scrambling to flood the zone with lower-cost options, the demand side is showing real signs of leveling off. Which leaves us with this incredible paradox. With active ingredient supply hurdles rising on one hand and global demand suddenly flatlining on the other, has the obesity treatment market finally hit its peak? Are we just seeing a temporary blip caused by consumer fatigue, or is this a fundamental shift in this modern gold rush? It's a genuinely compelling puzzle that will likely define the future of this pharmaceutical phenomenon, and we're for sure going to be keeping our eyes on it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.